Hey Chamber friends, are you ready for 2022 yet? Me too! So in case you didn't know, I'm the one that publishes the Chamber Pros Planner. It is just a printed monthly, weekly planner, and I'm actually gonna flip through the pages so that you can see what's actually inside to see if it's the right fit for you. Okay, so here's the book for 2022. I do change the cover every year if you ever have any ideas. The first page is just if found, please return to, plus any emergency info you want public. Then I have just your aspirational visions and your 3-year vision. This can be personal or chamber specific, it's up to you. And then I have 2 other prompts, just in case you want to kind of get these things out on paper. What are 3 things your chamber will stand by this year? And what are 3 promises you're making to your chamber members or community this year? And then I just have some information about me in the planner. And then this whole left page is actually journaling and writing prompts in case you want to use some of your blank pages for that. Some examples of the questions in here are, as of today, your personal legacy in 1 sentence would be chamber legacy. If you don't like it, what would you want it to be? Another one is, what would make the biggest difference in moving the chamber forward? So these are just writing prompts to get you to think about different things. Those are totally optional. Then I have a page for holidays that I think are just interesting for chambers to know about, like the Mom and Pop Business Days in March, as well as Chamber of Commerce Week in September. And then I have the year at a glance. Now you can do whatever you want with that page. What I choose to do is actually I plan out my year's events. So I know that my networking event is always the 3rd Tuesday of the month, and so I make those a certain color that just kind of remind me, even if we haven't planned specific event details, that's what I can look forward to. And I also go ahead and I cross out any days I know we will be closed for holidays. That way I don't accidentally schedule anything for those weeks. So again, just totally up to you. That's how I've chosen to use it. And then I have a monthly tracker. And so what this is tracking something that you need to do at least once a month, every month. Again, totally up to you, personal or chamber related. This might be picking something up. It could be logging analytics. Let's say that I am logging analytics. I just write that word in this space and then I check it off, done for January, done for February. That's just another handy page I thought might come in helpful. The next page is again the year at the glance, but it's dateless and it has more spaces for notes. Again, do whatever you want with it. This is where I plan topics for talking to my ambassadors about. Sometimes I make a copy of it first and I use it to plan longer term events that have tasks for me to do every month when I'm still just kind of in the brainstorming phase, whatever you think. And then we have the 12-week goals. As you can see, I've changed just the left-hand side of the page a little bit. It does have more information, but I've only done it for the first quarter. For the rest of the quarters, the right page is the same, but the left-hand side will be totally blank with just a very faint grid in case that helps you write better. But for the first one, I've got more about SMART goals specifically, and then I always like to doodle and color in stuff, so I just did that. And then if you hadn't gotten the planner yet, all this is you're supposed to try to plan 3 different goals and you want to be finished within 12 weeks. This personal accountability tool can really help you get more done when you try to give yourself a 12-week goal specifically, so that you're not saying, oh, we'll do this later, oh, we'll do this another month, and you just keep putting it off and off. But this makes you stay on track if you use it. And so you list out your goal, and then you just list out all the steps that you need to take or things that you can take action on with a due date. And you do this for each of your 3 goals. You probably only want one bigger one, and then you just go to your future months or weeks, whatever's easiest, and write out your tasks for yourself. On the next page we have, what will I struggle with and how can I overcome them? This is, again, just a personal tool for you to write out any of your concerns. Again, you're trying to get your thoughts down on paper. And then I have a quarterly calendar at a glance with the month days, but then also some note-taking pages. This is a self-tool, however you want to use it. You will have a 2-page spread for the month. I've double-checked the dates. I like to put a little quote at the top that just resonates with me as a chamber staff person, and then I've put a box for special dates, priorities, don't forget. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a very faint grid here that's just free space for you, but I like grids because they help me write a little bit neater. And then I have a box for people to see, and then the calendar for the upcoming month. So when I'm looking like in a meeting at this month, if somebody asks, oh, what's that date next month? Well, I've actually got the calendar that I can look at real quick there, and I can immediately give the answer and stay on track instead of everybody getting distracted looking at calendars on their phone and stuff like that. So after every month, it goes into about 4 weekly sets of pages. It just depends on the Monday. So for the 2-page spread, it starts on a Sunday, but due to some feedback and that I agreed with, I've actually started the weekly planner on Monday this time. And so I've dated it this time, and so this is in the month, day, year format. So I've already dated it for the Monday. And so for every week, based on Monday, we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, and for January, 5 sets of these pages right after it. So you'll have 2-month page spread, then we'll have our weekly planner, a kind of blank page at the bottom. It says gratitude, and then it's got a calendar for the current month and the next month, again, just so we can quickly answer date questions. And then after the weekly planner, we have a meeting page and a blank page, and this repeats. Weekly, kind of blank with a calendar, meeting, blank. And this will just keep going until the end of the month. And so for the end of the month, we have a monthly recap. We do have one blank box at the top for you to designate however you want to, but I try to put in some things that make me think a little bit more compared to some other tools I've used. So the questions here are created, improved, prevented, consistently, reduced, wins, things to change, things that made me happy, and things to report. So as their things are happening throughout the month, I actually just go ahead and write them down because I will probably forget them. And then on the left-hand side, this is a daily habits tracker for you to use throughout the month, but I've put it at the end of the month. And so these are things that you would do almost every day, and these again can be personal or chamber related. So if you need to check your other email every day, you can put email in this box. Or if you're just trying to drink more water every day, you can put drink water. And so it's got a few of these columns for you to name however you want. And then you just go to, okay, it's January 1st. Did I do it? Yes. And I can put a check. Or you can color code. It's totally up to you. I've seen these used so many different ways. And at the bottom, it just says, go back and check off completed tasks from 12-week goals and schedule upcoming tasks. And then a little bit redundantly, but again, you want to use the one that will help you most. I have a monthly goals recap. Now this is different than this in that this is truly about your month. This is about specifically your 12-week goals. So we're going to check off any accomplishments from tasks that we did in our 12-week goals. And then we're going to go ahead for the future months and note or any assigned tasks that weren't already assigned. Maybe things came up and you forgot to write it down. And then I've given you some space. If you would like to use it, you can write out ideas that have been scrapped and why, obstacles we faced and or need attention, changes necessary in order to stay on track, and what set up success. Because things will not go according to plan every time, we know that. But this can help you feel like you're staying on track and focus on what can be done. That being said, I've also added a last box for no excuses. This is for the things you can control. So use both and don't give yourself too much grief as long as you're doing your best. Then we have the next month and everything just repeats. We have a 2-page spread. Then we have our weekly and meeting pages, and this will keep going. I'm skipping a few pages, it's fine. And then we again have our daily habits for that month, and we have our month at a glance, and then we have our monthly goals recap, again for your 12-week goals. And then we have our 3rd month, and so I'm just gonna flip through. So we have our end of the month page, and this goal page is a little bit different. So this is truly recapping your 12-week goals for the entire quarter. So these are the 3 goals you started with, and these are just you recapping about all 3 of the goals. So it says, what goals did you achieve and what happened because of them? What goals or tasks made the biggest difference moving the chamber forward? What will you improve or do differently going forward? Again, we're just trying to think of what worked, what didn't, what needs to change. And using your monthly recap pages will help you fill this out. Again, if you're the type you just want to get it down on paper, because you know we will all forget. And then we start over with our new quarter, aka our new set of 12-week goals. Now you might have to rehash some of your old goals a little bit, but hopefully you made some progress on them. And again, what will we struggle with, and then our quarter at a glance. And then we go back to the monthly, weekly pages, and I'm just gonna go through because all of that is repetitive now. And I'm gonna skip to the very end. We have our end of month, we have our end of quarter. And this is the rest of these pages at the very end, there's only a few of them, are for the whole year. So you might wanna take a look at it if you do get the planner when you first sit down. Now, the year in pixels is very similar to our monthly or daily habits, except this is likely going to be color coded. I do put a very faint note that says each box represents one day. So January 1, February 1, etc. Design your own key. Again, people use a mix of colors and patterns. And what I've seen very commonly with the year in pixels is people describing their day or how they felt. So some people can say this is a good day, this is a bad day. It's whatever direction you want to go with this. This is, again, just a self-tool if it helps you. Next should sound familiar. It is an idea parking lot. And this is for you to write random notes and ideas that you have that you know you're not gonna get to this year, but that maybe you didn't wanna put it in a blank notes page. Maybe you know that you're not gonna look at it till the end of the year. Again, however you wanna look at that. On the right, I have a year at a glance for next year, because we know we're always looking ahead, so you can look at those dates. And on the left is a self-guided reading list. So I did put one hint in here. I do recommend the Chamber Chat podcast. So I guess you can also put podcasts or other audiobooks or technology things. I've also already been recommended to read Relevant to Essential and Horseshoes versus Chess, and these I've written in myself, where you see you just put in the title and maybe the author of books that you hear about maybe at a meeting or at an industry conference, because you know we all get great book recommendations and we always forget. So this is a self-reading list reminder. You can color them if you want or color them in when you're done. It's just, again, totally up to you. And then following our calendar for next year, we have more notes for next year, and then I do our quarterly at a glance for next year in case you know you have ideas for specific months. But that's the book. To give you some ideas of different things that I buy and use for the planner, this is my current year. These are tabs that are basically like sticky notes. And so I do like to buy these because this is self-published as a paperback book in Amazon. So I don't have a whole lot of control over how it's printed this year. This will also be available for sale as a PDF on Etsy if you would like to go to your local printer and have it bound however you want and print it on whatever paper you prefer. This paper is a little thin. I can see the writing on the back of this page, and some pens and markers will bleed through. So if you don't like it, that's okay, but I do like people to know that. So most of my pens are okay, but I don't use very heavy bleeding pens. But if you use a lot of markers, so for example, I know that this was done with a marker and I can see the color on the back of it. So I do want you to know that. Most highlighters are okay for me, but sometimes some of the colored highlighters do bleed through. But I do know they make something called Bible highlighters that are very good for that. So you might like specialty pens. I get the tabs. I just use a different color tab. See, most of my months are one color, and then I use a different color for my quarterly pages for it's easy for me to flip back through. And then I actually just use colored paper clips for myself. So I know that my black paper clip just means that's this week, and I use different colors for different things. You can also get, this is just a rubber band, but you can actually get, they're like bookmarks for planners or big pages. So they look a little bit nicer than rubber bands. Totally up to you, however you want to go with that. And then if you sign up for my emails, and the URL is actually in the book, I'll actually let you know some other tools that I like to buy and use. And again, those are totally optional. Just like I like to have stickers, they make me feel like I'm doing something and feel creative. But I hope that helped. If you have any questions or ideas, I do like ideas and feedback every year about the planner. That's why there's always a few little tweaks every year in these. Please let me know. You can comment below, or you can get my email off of my website. Again, my website is theizzywest.com. Again, the physical one, if you want it done for you, is available on Amazon. It will be printed exactly like this. It's a paper book format. It is 8.5 by 11, so you can stick your printouts from meetings that you get right into it, and it's the same size. But it will also be available on my Etsy page if you want to purchase the PDF, so that you can have it bound differently. If that's what you like, that's okay. And there's also a second option on my Etsy if you're going to print a lot. So if you know you're going to buy the PDF and you want to have it printed for, let's say, all of your board members or like a lot of people, please purchase that one. It is the same download, it's the same PDF, but it is a little bit more money so that you help support me with your multiple printing. And then there will be the cheaper option for just the single PDF if you're only printing it for yourself. If you will be printing more than one, but not as many as the more expensive Etsy listing. But if you're somewhere in between the two Etsy listings, it's okay to just go with the cheaper Etsy listing. That's fine. I just ask you use the more expensive one if you know you'll be printing it for like a lot of people. So I appreciate that. I hope this helps. Again, leave me your questions, comments, concerns, and ideas. And I hope you all have a great 2022.